Hi everyone, I'm JJ from the Enoch generation. Welcome to my new video about Spongebob, and this time I want to get back to a scene where I actually did not know what a certain symbol meant, so I skipped it. I mentioned it. It's this one. It's an egg with a snake curled around it, and I skipped it because I didn't know what it was. I told you about this butterfly, Project Monarch, about mind control, about Sandy and her role as a conspiracy theorist who is totally crazy, so you should not trust conspiracy theorists. But this one I skipped, and today I found out what it is, and it's actually very evil. It is very bad. It has to do with Satanism, and not just some kind of magic or witchcraft, but really hardcore Satanism. And I'm gonna show you how I found it, because when you take this picture and highlight it, and I blow it up a bit, and I increase the contrast so it becomes a little bit more clear, a bit more, and then it fits exactly on this picture. And I found this picture and I recognized it, and I remembered that I talked about it in my Spongebob video, Masonic Illuminati symbols in Spongebob and Sponge Out of Water. And then I decided to check out what it was, because I found it on the cover of this book. And this book is called Living Thelema, a practical guide to attainment in Aleister Crowley's system of magic. Well, if you don't know anything about this stuff, then you're probably gonna say, I don't understand any of this. Thelema is a philosophy made up by the guy Aleister Crowley, and he taught about magic, and not like magician tricks or well, innocent kind of magic, but real magic. And he wrote about horrible stuff, about sacrifices of children, sacrifices of animals, and you don't want to know what he was all about. But he was very evil. He was also called the wickedest man of the world, and the beast, and 666, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna show you a bit more about this guy, unfortunately, because you need to know what's in this movie. This is a very serious symbol, and you should know what it means. Here is a book about the life of Aleister Crowley and his famous words, his law that he wrote, and he wrote it while he was channeling some sort of alien god or something, that he thought it was an alien god. And it says, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will." And it all has to do with just do whatever you want, and have sex with everyone, and love under will. So it's very contradicted to the Bible. And yeah, of course, Satanism is everything that God says you shouldn't do. And what's also interesting is that you see the Illuminati eye here. Now, the Illuminati is pretty popular these days to talk about or to make fun of. Or you see all kinds of memes about the Illuminati. But this guy was living around the 1900s, and he actually died in 1947. So this guy had nothing to do with the modern day stuff, or that it's popular to talk about. Illuminati stuff is pretty old. Here you see him with the Illuminati eye on his head, and he will actually tell you what it means and what the origin is of this eye. And he writes about this in a book of his, and you should not read it. I didn't read it, I just found it somewhere on the internet, and I did a search to find some words in it. But it's very nasty stuff. It's very bad, and you should stay far from it. And this is just to show you how evil it is. On page 183, he says, "Thou spiritual son, Satan, thou lust, cry aloud, whirl the wheel, O my father, O Satan, O son." And, well, that's everything that the Bible says you shouldn't say. It's like cursing yourself, so don't say these things. I'm just saying them for educational purposes, and I plead the blood of Jesus, so you don't have to fear anything, that I do not intend this to be a bad thing when I say it. But it's about what this guy was all about, and it's about Satan. He calls him his father, and he's talking about the sun. And that's why you see all the rays of light around his eye, because the old Egyptians thought that the sun was the eye of God. And this Aleister Crowley was also into Egyptian magic and all that mythology and stuff. But actually he says that this is the eye of God, and it is Satan, and it is giving enlightenment to the people who are into Satanism. And this goes back to what happened in the Garden of Eden, where the snake told Adam and Eve that they would become enlightened, their eyes would be opened, and they would be like God. So it's the very first lie that Satan told Adam and Eve, and there's still people who think that is true, but it's not, of course. On page 185, he says, "The eye, Satan, my lord, the lust of the goat." So again, he's talking about the eye, and that Satan is his lord. And he's talking about a goat. And this goat is also mentioned here on page 293. And it says, "I am the eye in the triangle," so that's the Illuminati eye, "the silver star that ye adore, I am Baphomet." And Baphomet is this very ugly satanic symbol, and it represents paganism, and it represents Satanism, and it has a lot of stuff in it. You can see it's a fallen angel, it's a goat, it has a pentagram on his head, which stands for magic. It has a light of Lucifer on his head, and it shows duality, like the arm up, the arm down, black and white, light and darkness, male and female, all those things. And actually it's just duality is against God, because God is one, and the devil is all about divide and conquer. So he wants his servants to be as divided as possible, so that they will get destroyed eventually. If you believe this kind of stuff, you will get destroyed, because you're falling apart, literally. So here is another picture with a lot of symbols. I'm not gonna explain them all. I don't know the meaning of every symbol, but you see the famous word "do what thou wilt" here above, and you see also what's very important, Golden Dawn, and that's the secret society that he was part of. And you also see here this little symbol is actually the logo of 30 Seconds to Mars. So yeah, you know where they got that from. And when you go further, especially in the music industry, because over here you see Jay-Z, the biggest rapper on the planet, and he has it on his sweater, "Do what thou wilt." I had that also in my other video, so I'm not gonna talk a lot about it. Of course, Lady Gaga, another example, posing like the Baphomet, and one eye open, one eye closed. And that's something we all know about, that Lady Gaga is doing. She's always putting the hand for her eye, which shows that she wants to communicate the all-seeing eye. You can see a very clear version of the all-seeing eye on the back of one of the dancers in her concerts, and this hand sign means 666. You can find the meaning of those symbols in a lot of YouTube videos if you want to know more about that. I'm not gonna go into all of that. Lady Gaga with Christina Aguilera, Do What You Want. Again, the same thing, the same philosophy from Aleister Crowley. And in the end, I'm also showing here Sierra, which had it on the back of her sweater. And that's why I said, look at this Golden Dawn, because she says Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. That's on the back of her sweater. And most people have no clue what it means, but it's straight from the teachings of Aleister Crowley. And maybe you say, or maybe you think this is from the modern day music industry. They want to be rebels, or they want to act cool, so they put this stuff from Aleister Crowley. But it's going back to the very early beginnings of the music industry, and even your mom and dad were not safe from these evil teachings, because as you can see, here is another picture of this well, very ugly looking man. You see it in his eyes, the emptiness and the anger, and you see that it's a lie. In the end, he died as a heroin addict all by himself. Nobody was there because he was just a very bad person and not someone you want to hang around with. And he said also in his book Magic, this serpent Satan is not the enemy of man, but he who made gods of our race, knowing good and evil. He bade know thyself, which was also in the Matrix, by the way, when Neo visited the Oracle, and taught initiation. And initiation has everything to do with secret societies and Freemasonry. And if you want to know more about Freemasonry, then watch my other Spongebob video, because I explain a lot more about that at the start of that video. And to get back to your parents, because your parents might say, yeah, I told you that Jay-Z stuff is bad, but then you come up to them and you say, oh look, it's the Beatles. And do you see him? There he is, Mr. Crowley, standing in the crowd behind the Beatles. And of course this is all copied and pasted, but this is what they want to show the world, that, oh look, this crowd behind us is our inspiration. And it has all kinds of famous people, including Mr. Aleister Crowley. So yeah, this is going on for a long time, and I see that the enemy is using this to inspire artists, and even to this day it is pretty known, if you do some research, that to get a contract for recording an album, you have to be an initiated witch before you can even get a contract. So these days they're very serious about occultism and magic in the music industry. And well, to get back to SpongeBob, this whole story was all packed into one little picture, which was hidden in the background and was only visible for a few seconds. And if you did not know, then you would have seen it, and you would not have known that it means such bad things. And it goes so deep with this philosophy, and it's so evil to the core. So be careful if you're opening up to a movie like this because you think it's all innocent because it's just a cartoon, and you're opening up and you're having fun, then you're actually opening up your mind to very filthy and very evil symbols. And the enemy is always looking for a way to break in. He is always a thief and a murderer and a destroyer, and he doesn't care that you don't know what it means. For him, it's just an excuse to go in and to try to harm you in any way possible. So be careful what you watch, because everything that you watch or hear or see will influence you and can be an opening for the devil to work in your life. So in conclusion, to tell you what this symbol means is it's the temptation of the snake, the old trick of the devil who tried to tempt the first people, and he succeeded, to think that they could be the god of their own life. And he's curled around, maybe it's the fruit of the tree of knowledge, and otherwise it might be an egg, but I think in the end it is the fruit. And he's trying to tempt you with your eyes, because most temptation is going through the eyes. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. And if you didn't see my other video about Illuminati Masonic symbols in Spongebob, then check it out. It's definitely worth watching. And thanks again, and see you next time.